I don't want to go to war. What am I going to do? I can't go. I can't go. I don't know what I'm going to do. You still have options, man. Yeah, jail or Canada, and they both suck. I mean, I could never come home. So what is it? A choice between a 6x4 cell or an endless wasteland of frozen tundra? Montreal is cool. Man, they speak French there. So learn French. Learn French or die.
What? I don't remember Kurt Russell having a problem going to Canada.
I don't think that's right.
What? I heard he only spoke 104 lines in Soldier, and that seemed like at least that or more.
Wait, Kurt Russell was in this movie?
Yeah.
What were you watching?
Well, so I didn't remember again. And it's too embarrassing to ask again. I remember you said this. It's called Soldier. I know you said something about Soldier, and like I remembered the Tears in the Rain speech at the end of Blade Runner.
When we said soldier, we didn't mean go find a movie, any movie about soldiers.
Oh, well, so I just
Soldier.
kind of went based off of that and like the background that Roy said, like that he was, fighting revolutions, out in the universe somewhere. So I literally Googled replicant revolutions across the universe. And, I kind of got the first hit there. And it was like, hey, luck of the draw there. So I watched Across the Universe.
Oh, no. That was a
I was a little confused. I mean, they sang quite a bit. They did, sing about revolution. And
I guess this is connected to Blade Runner.
They sang All You Need Is Love, and it fit the theme of, whether replicant or human, all you need is love. You're the same.
All right. So, AJ, we're going to have you maybe sit over in the corner. We might call you in a few times. You might have some interesting...
Yeah, it was confusing. There weren't any replicants in it, but then Bono showed up, so it did make sense.
It all comes together.
Wow.
All right, welcome to Franchise Killer, a podcast where we pick movie franchises or wannabe franchises, review them film by film, and see where things went wrong.
Or right?
Todd is a very silent protagonist. Let's just leave this moment. 5 more seconds. Five more seconds, and then we can all say "sir" or something.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Sir.
All right. We are covering, of course, Soldier.
Of course.
The 1998 film by Paul W.S. Anderson, who also directed Event Horizon, Resident Evil Afterlife, Resident Evil Retribution, Resident Evil The Final Chapter. Sorry, I had to look at my notes. Alien vs. Predator, Death Race, and a number of other B-movie...
You can see where this movie got its little touch of excitement.
It's touch of excitement.
I gotta say, he does know how to put excitement into his movies.
Yeah. The movie stars Kurt Russell, Gary Busey, Jason Scott Lee, Connie Nielsen, and Michael Chiklis. It's also written by David Webb Peoples, who you'll recognize from also co-writing the script for the original Blade Runner. Oh. And therein lies our connection.
Which he actually wrote this script while working on Blade Runner.
Yes. And there's actually a number of people that were impressed with this script. It just landed in the hands of Paul W.S. Anderson.
What a joy for us.
Yeah, actually, one of the notable people was Clint Eastwood, who actually wanted to make a film based off this script.
Interesting.
He would have done a good job.
Yeah, and a number of other actors were in line to star in this movie as well. It's a pretty demanding
Who's the producer
role.
that decided, okay, not Clint Eastwood. Let's go Paul W.S. whatever.
Yeah, so
Anderson.
believe it or not,
yeah.
we've covered the first 2 Blade Runners already, and Soldier is tangentially related to those. It loosely shares the same universe.
Way across the universe.
Very
Yes. You won't ever hear Ridley Scott saying that it shares a universe, but Paul W.S. Anderson certainly wants you to believe that it does. And he claims on multiple occasions that if the lead character from this film were to make his way to Earth, he would run into none other than Deckard Shaw, played by Harrison Ford. I don't think...
Deckard Shaw?
Well, clearly that didn't happen.
That is the wrong...
sorry.
That's way across the universe.
That was Hobbs and Shaw. Wow.
Did you watch the wrong movie too, Reese?
You should have watched Hobbs and Shaw instead.
But
Why did I
at least
say
they
that?
share the same garbage trucks in these, so I guess it is kind of in the same universe.
Yeah, they share the same garbage trucks.
They fought in the same war.
Wasn't it Blade Runner 2049 had the garbage thing from Soldier in it or something as like a very obscure reference?
Yep.
Okay, what's really annoying, though, is that this is set in the same universe, and they're not replicants.
Nope.
Yeah.
They're not I learned that just
I
after
actually
I watched it.
I don't hate that. I'm done with replicants. I've had enough of them. I'm like, I want to
Isn't
see.
that the point
All the
of all the war?
replicants
Like
and
that
they're,
the replicants
am I
are the ones
human? I
doing
feel
that?
like I'm human. I should be human.
What's
Yeah.
the point of the war? So why would it not be replicants?
Yeah, Todd fought at the Tannhauser Gates and the Shoulder of Orion, so that's where we got that.
Yeah, that's the relation. And apparently, there's a spinner in the rubble of the planet that he lands in. But
Sure.
I feel like this alternatively is more like, can you make a human a machine?
The exact opposite.
It's
Yeah.
Can you go the other way?
It's the
Inverse.
exact opposite.
Blade
I'm
Runner.
just going to go ahead and skip the next part you normally do, Reese, and just say none of us have even heard of this movie. So,
I'm gonna go through it anyway. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this because I have a spiel that I have to read.
okay, all right.
Spiel?
Yes.
A spiele?
Yeah. For our listeners who don't know what this podcast is all about.
All right.
On this podcast, we first go over our thoughts on the film.
Let me interrupt
before
you.
Revisiting it.
For current listeners who don't know this podcast, choose another episode first.
Yeah. But you
makes a
can
good
come
point.
back.
Yeah, on this podcast, we first go over our thoughts on the film before revisiting it for the episode. Then we dive into the story, break it down bit by bit, and talk about the more significant moments. Then, towards the end of the show, we give our brief reviews and numbered scores, along with an analysis on the health of the franchise and whether or not this film hurt it. So yeah, this is a weird one because I don't see how it could hurt Blade Runner in any way
Because no one knew.
yeah, but it's still, this one had designs on having a sequel as well, if it were to be successful. So on its own, it's just kind of like, whatever. But anyway, had any of y'all seen Soldier before this episode?
Not even a little bit. I had no idea it
No?
existed.
David, no? Arena, no? Noah, no? AJ?
No.
All right,
Yeah, no.
so I guess we should just get into the story.
All right.
David, you want to take it away?
I'm at the helm this time. In 1996, as part of a new military training program, orphaned infants are selected at birth and raised as highly disciplined soldiers dedicated to a holy military routine. They are trained to be ruthless, obedient killers without any moral code of conduct, and any deemed physically or mentally unworthy are executed. Survivors of the training program are turned into impassive, dedicated fighting machines with no exposure to or understanding of the outside world. In 2036, at the age of 40, Sergeant Todd 3465 is a battle-hardened veteran and the best soldier of the original 1996 infants. Colonel Meekum, the leader of the original project, introduces a new group of genetically engineered soldiers, designed with superior physical attributes and a complete lack of emotion, except unparalleled aggression.
So, can I ask you, this is the only discerning factor for why they would pick out an infant over another, but was it only because they were crying?
This one's weak.
I hate the sound of crying babies.
I watched this with my earbuds in on my phone.
You watched this on your phone?
Yeah, I did.
Ugh.
I know it's not an optimal experience, but I figured for this movie, it was whatever. You know,
It could have been the best movie ever, and you would have watched it on your phone.
I was pretty aware of how this movie was gonna go.
Like a true millennial watching
But yeah, it got to the intro, and all I hear is nonstop crying babies, and it made my blood boil a little bit.
But seriously, they would only pick the crying babies.
Well, fun fact, they actually took those audio clips from the this test screening audience.
Probably.
You are right. Like, don't you think you would pick the ones that
Like
are
the
like,
more stoic ones?
yeah, that are not upset with the environment that they're
I don't
in?
know. I don't know why.
It's emotion.
I didn't even pick up on that. I knew the type of movie I was in for, so I'm like, I just couldn't focus on a lot of the minute details just because of just the tone that it sets up right
Yeah.
from the start.
The sheer volume of ridiculousness that you're presented with.
Yeah, like there's a part where Todd is grown up, or it's like at the end of the montage and it's showing his stats on a screen, and I was like, I should probably pause this and read these. In any other episode I would,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I don't care.
Nah,
Oh,
I
did.
get it. He's good.
I know you
Come
did,
up
AJ.
later.
Actually, it's funny because the stats they put on there are like Dungeons and Dragons stats.
Yep.
I wish I had my own version of those for me. You know,
Hell
that
yeah,
I could
what
just
are
look at
Noah's
my own
stats?
stats. Like, what am I good at? Oh, wow.
But Yeah, the whole
Really?
movie is just laden with cheese, like from the get-go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, at least I'm glad it doesn't try to emulate the Blade Runner feel.
Yeah.
Even I just wish it wasn't connected at all. Like I could see like this being an Arnold Schwarzenegger vehicle.
Dude, I was
Like,
thinking of
Yeah.
that too.
Just it just doesn't need to be in the same universe. There's nothing about this that connects it to Blade Runner in any way.
No.
It should just be completely cut from that.
Well, and as Noah said earlier, it almost has more of a G.I. Joe kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking like if I didn't know that this was connected to Blade Runner, I might be like having a dumb good time with it.
yeah.
But yeah, I have definitely other issues with that.
I'm gonna say I was able to have a dumb good time.
And
honestly.
actually, I didn't want to say that I didn't have a good time. I
Yeah.
actually kind of did. But there's certain choices that this movie makes that even if it weren't connected to Blade Runner,
Yeah.
I still would criticize it for.
I think
Dude,
I broke my caps lock key taking notes on this movie.
So the thing is, going into this, I was ready to take notes, but I found myself just having a lot of fun. And I think, honestly, they maybe made a mistake choosing Anderson to do this as a serious Blade Runner, offshoot. But at the same time, I strongly feel like he knows exactly what he's doing. And he knows the charm of B movies, and that's what he loves. And he's not going to sway from that. So I think he intentionally has it like this because that's just his flavor of film.
Yeah, if you ever see this guy in an interview, he's just like, yeah, I think the audiences would just love that. Like if a guy just punched this guy in the face and it exploded, I think they'd love that. And it's just like
Kind of going down
So
that
he's the
Uva
sheer
bullet.
opposite of finesse.
Well, it's like he knows, all right, what would be finesse? That? All right, let's do the opposite of that entirely. It's like he's intentionally deciding, okay, I could make this, but I'm actually going to do this instead.
Yeah.
yeah.
It is more campy, I would
Yeah.
say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but right off, I'll also say about the aesthetic of this movie. It reads very 90s. I mean,
yeah.
80s, not 90s, 80s to me. I don't know. I don't even see this as a 90s movie. I'm surprised to see certain actors in it because I keep doing kind of a double take and realizing that, oh, this is a late 90s movie.
Well,
It feels so like,
Retro.
I don't know.
yeah, there's a
I'll
clip
bring
of
it.
like the DNA like sequencing that I'm pretty sure I was in like my biology, VHS
Yes.
TV on a cart
Right.
rollout tapes.
Yeah, but it just really has this prime Schwarzenegger era feel to it, where it's, I don't know, Running Man or Total Recall. It feels
Total Recall,
like
yeah.
it feels like those, and even shades of Terminator, just in Kurt Russell, who's just this
Yeah.
emotionless kind of dude who's just
No lines.
I think that throughout the whole film, I was thinking this is basically a replacement for Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like he could have been this part, but I'm so glad he wasn't because I actually really like Kurt Russell's portrayal here as this just silent, dysfunctional kind of soldier who's almost forced to do very wholesome things. So
Gardening.
Anyway.
oh,
But I feel like if Arnold Schwarzenegger was in this part, it would make it even more hilarious.
yeah. Before we move on, we should talk about maybe the one, like, in my opinion, significant scene, or it's not even a significant scene, but it's the one that was like most jarring, I guess, is the running scene where that kid is killed because he's
Oh,
slower than the rest
Oh,
of
that
them.
was sad.
We don't know
Well,
if
maybe he was
died.
hoping to die.
Their bullet noises as he's stopped by soldiers.
Yeah, we didn't see
But
it
Todd-
though.
Constant Todd.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, we get it. All these soldiers are bred to just be unstoppable, emotionless. And
mean-
anyone who slacks in the slightest of ways is killed.
Yeah, their ABCs in the classroom are literally like lethal, murder, nuke, obey, punch, quell, rage, shoot, terror,
Yeah, it's
ultimate, valor, X-ray.
it's
Wait, what
very
is this,
it's very on the nose.
And then the height of their
What is this, Winter
dexterity
Soldier?
measurements is like doing tangrams or something like that.
Yes.
Like,
You've unlocked a Winter Soldier somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, okay, so this Mikum guy, this character, when he, we're to this part, right? I can't even tell.
We're
Yeah, we
not.
mentioned
We're
Mikan,
not?
did we?
We do
No, we
mention him,
mentioned,
so yeah.
You were talking about the running sequence, but then all these tests for, I don't know, like agility and endurance and whatever. It's like, well, obviously a robot is going to beat them out. But one of my favorite scenes is the one where all of his genetically designed or modified, whatever you call it, guys were just like pressing weights. And he's all like, are you convinced?
Honestly,
It looks like he might use them for something else.
I saw Reese when that scene came on. I was like, this just looks like a room full of Vin Diesels. just every single person, all bald, all jacked.
Well, also, like, none of this proves that they're good in combat.
Look at
like,
those
why
muscles.
are we?
You should pitch a movie of just Vin Diesel's clones.
Oh man!
All in a movie together, just vying for superiority. That would be amazing.
So can they do it like Eddie Murphy in like those Nutty Professor?
No, they all have to
No.
look exactly the same. They all have to wear
Oh my
wife
gosh.
beaters. They all have to. I don't know.
What's up? I don't know if that's I don't know. I was trying to
No,
channel.
he
all
broods and
about
just says
family.
like he says one word. He broods and says one word in a really deep voice.
Also, I'm just gonna say we don't have much talking on this section, but the next one we have some good stuff.
Go ahead with the story.
All right. Captain Church, the commander of Todd's unit, insists on testing the ability of the new soldiers against those of his proven older ones. The new soldiers outperform the old soldiers in every way. In a combat exercise held at the top of climbing chains, a new soldier, Kane 607, easily defeats 2 of the original soldiers before Todd gouges out Kane's eye. Kane knocks Todd from the top of the chains. Though he is presumed dead, the body of another dead soldier actually cushions his fall, and he is simply stunned and knocked unconscious. Meekum classifies it as a training exercise gone wrong and orders their bodies disposed of like garbage. Declared obsolete by Meekum, the remaining older soldiers are removed from combat duty and demoted to menial unarmed support roles.
Nice.
Okay,
Shouldn't have got that face tattoo.
I have positive notes.
Yeah.
I actually like how they establish Todd as a force to be reckoned with that can't be stopped. But then
He's the alpha.
yeah, he's the alpha, but he's beaten by this new model. So he's instantly put in underdog status, even though he is this powerful, almost machine-like character. So I kind of like that. It's not, as I've referenced before, Vin Diesel movies where he's just tough at the beginning and tough at the end. Like now he has at least something to prove, and there's a sort of rivalry, even though he's emotionless. I think it at least kind of adds a little something to his
In
character.
a fun way, I was invested at this point, and they do transition from scene to scene well enough. Even though it's campy and cheesy and all those words, it's still fun to watch, and you're not lost.
Yeah.
Well, that's the main thing you can say about this. It is very entertaining,
Yeah.
but that's about all really you can
love
say about
that-
this.
I love the campiness of these situations like this where like some general, some higher official just shows up with like, hey, we happen to have a better army. Let me just show you how good they are. And now you can just dispatch these other guys. Like there was no official meeting. Nobody knew about these guys.
No,
like
this
why?
is-
How is this happening like
Guess what
this?
we got?
No, this is total. It's total B movie status in like
know.
every way.
Well, there's like a lot they could have done with this too, but they really slimmed it down, and a lot happens within a little bit amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, as enjoyable as this can be at times for its dumb charms, I really think the story here could have been handled in a serious manner by a more prestigious director and been really actually genuinely good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have mixed feelings on this as a whole.
Especially since they just showed us an execution of an 8-year-old kid, like because he was running too slow.
Gosh.
What if that was just like
I'm
a
gonna
bad
say-
day for him? Like
I'm
he
gonna
just
say
like
back in track though, there were some days where I kind of wished someone would come and just shoot me.
Whoa.
that got dark.
Yeah. Nope, that's
She's
Irina.
just sitting
Not a smile to be had right now.
I'll echo the same. In
At least your name isn't an acronym
Yeah.
for totally over-the-top deadly dummy.
Yes.
Is that really what it's
Every
an
time I
acronym
hear
for?
his name, I think of the cartoon from that Disney Robin Hood film. Or not Robin Hood, the other Fox one. Fox and the Hound. There you go. That is.
I understand why they did what they did with like the tattoos on their faces, but
Well, it's their
Just
dog
like-
tags. It's just in the space age, you can't make dog tags. You have to tattoo it on their face.
Yeah, why? Just
They can't take
personally,
it off.
why there? Why that way?
I think it's a big part of who you are, your face, your head. So by doing that, it's basically dehumanizing you, in my opinion. It's like,
Yeah.
you're mine now. Like, you're an object.
I guess.
I also
Yeah.
think Anderson just did it to like look cool. Like, hey, wouldn't it look cool if he had this thing on his cheek?
And if anyone forgets his name, it's right there.
It could be like a very serious reason, like I was saying, but really it's just because aesthetically it looks super cool, man.
It's probably
Especially
makes
since
sense.
Kurt Russell takes I don't know how many direct 90-degree turns to the camera and just faces at the camera.
Yeah. Also, can I say this is probably the easiest paycheck for Kurt Russell ever?
Yep.
He doesn't have to
$20 million.
talk.
Like, I just, yeah, $20 million, which we'll go into later at the end of this
What?
episode.
Oh my gosh.
But I want to imagine Anderson giving him direction, like for every scene. Him being like, all right, Kurt, I just want you to kind of stare blankly, but maybe look like you're blank, but also blank
Okay,
and sad.
So
Maybe sad.
I'm gonna argue a little here.
Okay.
I actually feel like Kurt Russell did a pretty decent job.
The
He
thing is,
did.
the thing
Given
is,
the
he's fine.
scenario.
He didn't
He's
have to
fine.
talk.
It's just
Yeah. No, but the thing is, like, even then, he had certain expressions on his face and in his eyes that I'm like, oh, okay, he's actually trying to bring it for this role.
yeah. I just think it's a weird choice to bring in Kurt Russell in your lead role, a charismatic actor who
I
you
like
love to
him.
hear talk, and then just take that away from him.
I like it.
I think he does a good job in this movie. It's just a weird decision.
Who do you think has more lines, him in this movie or Judge Dredd?
Dredd?
Dredd, easily.
Definitely.
Probably-
Dredd
yeah.
definitely has more lines.
Yeah,
Oh, I love
He's
Dredd.
got so many one-liners in that movie.
I know, but it's so crazy. Like, I always thought he didn't talk a lot, but then this movie, like, Kurt, are you gonna say anything?
He
Kurt?
does have the jaw for a Dredd character, though.
He does.
I'll
He
say
can do
that.
it.
He could do a
Yeah.
Dredd.
I mean, just the fact that they show this montage of him like storming through different campaigns of,
gosh.
and they're literally just walking in a straight line, shooting off machine guns nonstop. There's not
Every
even
single
enemy
one.
Oh,
combatants.
yeah.
I love how many times they have an explosion go off behind him and he's just looking at the camera and it's like, oh, look, there's fire behind him for whatever reason.
Because he's a hardened soldier.
Because he's
Noah.
I
He's
laughed
brainwashed.
though when they're doing the target practice and the victims, I mean the enemies are coming up and then they're shooting them and then an enemy comes up with a victim in front of him and he just blasts them both. But then it fast forwards to later when he's actually in battle with real people. And it almost looks like exactly the same, but real
Scenario.
people. It's like they didn't even try to make it look natural. They just kind of stood there like they were targets.
Yeah.
I know. Gosh.
But that's part of the weird, dumb charm of this movie.
Yeah.
It's like I don't
I
even know if
enjoy
that's
it.
like if it's aware of how dumb it is.
I think it is. There's no way this is actually like super
there's
serious.
there's some stuff in there that you
mean,
see and you're
you've got
thinking,
fairly big names
oh,
besides
was
Kurt Russell,
he,
too.
though?
Yeah.
I
I even told
but-
Reese, was like, how many times I've said 4 or 5 times already that it's like, this guy's in it? Oh, that's that guy. Wow. What?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's surprising. Yeah, you want to move on in the story?
Let's do it.
Dumped on Arcadia 234, a waste disposal planet, the injured Todd limps toward a colony whose residents crash landed there years earlier. As they were believed dead, no rescue missions have been attempted. Todd is found and sheltered by Mace, and he and his wife Sandra help nurse Todd back to health. Rarely speaking himself, Todd develops a silent rapport with their mute son Nathan, who had been traumatized by a snakebite as an infant. He looks upon the happy, loving family with yearning in his eyes. Having never considered sexuality before, he also has confusion concerning an attraction to Sandra.
All right, so
Really?
I'm gonna give a positive here, but when he first comes upon this place and he's walking through that area with all the crosses and the old parking meters turned into rails and stuff, that's actually a cool set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this and thinking like, I like this set better than the whole G.I. Joe setup that was going on
And
earlier.
here's the thing. There's something behind that, too. Paul W.S. Anderson actually had plans for this to be more like that, where it was more open settings,
Yeah.
more wide shots.
Like a
and
Western
more
almost.
a more expansive.
That's so cool.
Yeah, Western vibe set where, there's more of those artistic shots like that.
Yeah.
But
And will I say the only moment that it actually bears any resemblance to other Blade Runner depictions is that one moment right there.
yeah, it kind of calls to mind the moment when Ryan Reynolds' character,
Not Ryan
Reynolds.
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling.
What
Man,
movie
I'm
are
really
we
good
all
with my
watching?
names this episode. Really good with my
We're
names.
watching Green Lantern.
Oh, when he's coming back
K.
to the
K is his name.
casino
That was a hard one to remember.
area type thing.
It's a letter. Yeah, but when Kay is going back into Las Vegas, you do get kind of that. I mean, that movie did it a lot better.
Yep.
But you do get kind of shades of that here. But yeah, Paul W.S. Anderson wanted that movie to have more of that vibe, but because Kurt Russell was so committed to really building his body naturally and to play the character instead of using steroids, it took him an extra 2 months to get prepared for the
gosh.
role, and by that time, hurricanes or monsoons had made the sets unviable, and they had to do it on lots. Yeah, studio
That
lots.
sucks.
Man.
Although we got some good looking stuff.
Yeah.
And then
I will.
Kurt Russell ends up injuring himself.
Yeah, in
That's
kind of an
rough.
embarrassing way. Like didn't he like trip on a cabbage or something?
What?
Yeah,
Yeah, they published
cabbages.
something a little bit more flattering, but
Yeah,
they had to
obviously.
basically film him first like lying down and then sitting down and then standing.
Oh my
yeah.
god.
There was a lot that went on behind the scenes of this movie.
Okay, that must have sucked because first he's like, "All right, guys, I'm gonna actually work out.
I'm gonna
and
do this,
Let's
like,
postpone
legit."
this a couple months, okay?"
Also, I'm gonna say
it works out.
Looking into this, it fits perfectly into this humorous sort of injury because I was looking up kind of just Kurt Russell's backstory, and he was a pro baseball player, or was trying to be, and he actually couldn't go pro because he tore his rotator cuff playing air hockey.
Okay, wait a minute.
Wow.
I think he's making these injuries up.
It sounds like it.
I thought it was in
tripped
the
on a
National Guard or
cabbage and
something
he-
too. He was military at one
Yeah,
point.
but he actually couldn't do that because he tripped over a bicycle.
Sounds like a cartoon.
Yeah, he's just a
That's
walking.
probably why he was cast for this film.
He's a hazard to everyone around him.
And that's how
anyway,
he
we
met Goldie
should-
Hawn.
She fell for him right there and then. I think.
No, she literally fell on him.
They both tripped at the same time.
What a meet cute.
So, a
what
little
do
bit
you-
of trivia, since we're talking trivia about the snakes. Those snakes are, I think they're like Thai vipers that are actually really venomous. So they have their mouths sewn shut for most of the shots, and Kurt Russell couldn't actually handle it. So it's like a labyrinth where someone else is handling the prop right in front of his face as if he's holding it up himself.
Yeah, I was like,
Interesting.
what is with all these freaking green snakes in this movie?
Well,
But
it's so you can see it and you know it's dangerous.
yeah, it's supposed to
I'm okay
contrast
with that.
against the orange, I guess. So, what'd you think of Todd being first introduced to what's the lady's name?
Sandra.
Sandra, and his first introduction to
Their
her
puberty.
is
in their
her chest.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I don't think this is actually that goofy because thinking about where they came from, they're probably not presented with the concept of women or, having a family or anything.
Suppressing
so
your sexuality.
immediately seeing someone that is physically different from you would attract attention.
Wow,
so it
Irina,
didn't bother me that much.
This is not how this episode was supposed to go.
Sorry,
I'm just
I
kidding.
mean-
No, I actually like it.
They were
I was
brainwashed
actually
from
ready to-
birth, basically. I mean, they still have hormones and go through puberty, so they had
Yeah.
to have some kind of coming to terms with something like that. But it was just the
Yeah.
way it was shot. It was just like, oh, direct cut to a braless chest right there, and then Kurt
Yeah.
Russell like literally staring her down. It got a little
Yeah.
creepy.
It was a little weird. He was like, "What's
However,
that?"
they at least did not revisit that later.
Yeah.
Well, they did have a moment where he cut himself when he was cutting carrots.
Oh my gosh,
And
I
then there
love
was
that
an
scene
awkward
so
hug.
much.
I'm just gonna say I loved everything to do with him and sort of like
I just
learning
love-
how to live in the real
Okay,
world with these guys.
I'm gonna say right now, there were moments when I watched this by myself, and so I was thinking during these moments, like I would start giggling, and I immediately thought of you, Reese, because this is the kind of stuff that you find funny.
Yeah.
So like him just chopping the carrot and then cutting his finger and then just continuing to chop through
and the
his
blood just like getting all over the carrots.
Yep. No, I did giggle at that scene
Okay.
for sure. But is this like actually kind of a fish out of water movie?
What do you mean?
Where he's just kind of there's
Oh,
almost
yeah,
these
yeah.
like goofy moments where
Yes.
he's just trying to integrate with a different society, and it's just, oh, I'm bumbling around. I don't know how to. I cut my
guess.
finger.
Sitting with the lady, and she's all like, "Here, you plant one." And he
But-
just like drops it in a hole. And
I don't know who in their right mind. I guess Sean Pertwee's character Mace, who I love Sean Pertwee in this actually, because I like him in
Yeah.
Alfred and Gotham, but he was actually a highlight for the movie for me.
Yeah, I was like, who's that face? And then I
wasn't
was
he
like,
also
it's
in
Gotham.
Scorpion?
Was he?
The
I
Scorpion
think
King.
so.
Was he?
Yeah, he was the guy with all the blades and stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, you must
Bad
be
guy?
very confident, because I would not let Todd near my spouse like that. And he's fine. He's just a death machine. Let's let him garden with her. That makes
It's
sense.
fine.
Yeah. Although I will say too that when I was watching this, the second that they had that awkward scene where he looks at Sandra,
Yeah.
I looked over at Reese and said, "Well, it's a shame that her husband had to die."
Yep.
Oh yeah, we all pretty much called
see
this
that
right
coming.
then.
Super
Nope,
nice guy.
not at all.
That totally doesn't happen.
I
will
really
say-
liked him too. I
He
didn't
was.
want
He
him
was
to
great.
die.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'll say all of the romance scenes, I guess you could call them, or the moments where Todd is interacting with Sandra.
Sexual
Yeah.
tension.
Those are pretty cringy,
It
in
is
my
cringe to
opinion.
me.
Like, I was not on board with that. And she would slip in and out of like an accent that I couldn't
Okay.
tell.
Oh, I noticed that.
I thought I was
Yeah.
crazy. I thought I was just hearing things that weren't there.
No, I heard it. It was like she would sound normal at first, and then there'd be like an accent would come in. But
Sounded like French or
Something like that,
or
yeah.
yeah,
German.
I don't know what it
or,
was. I'm not
Yeah,
even going to
I'm
try
not
to guess
sure.
what it was.
I
But
don't know.
just the delivery and the execution of those scenes were
Yeah.
off for me.
No, I don't know.
It's fun.
To me, almost everything was a little off.
This whole movie was
I
a
mean,
little off.
the thing I'll admit, I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought I would.
You don't
but
have
just-
to say that just for me.
No, I actually
No,
did.
I think that's
'cause-
the vibe right now.
Okay.
Except with AJ, I feel like AJ probably hated it.
but
AJ
but,
has standards.
Yeah.
everything was tinged with just bad.
Just bad.
Yep.
Just bad.
Yeah.
It all had a level of bad to it.
All right, moving on. Though they try to make him feel welcome, Todd has difficulty adapting to the community and their conflict-free lives due to his extremely rigid conditioning. When Nathan silently looks to him for defense against a coiled snake, Todd attempts to show Nathan how to protect himself by smashing the snake with a boot. Nathan's parents intervene and disapprove of the lesson, unsure of how to deal with the silent soldier. Todd's increasing disorientation by exposure of peaceful civilian life manifests into flashbacks of his time battling other enemy soldiers and killing civilians who were in the way. While Todd's mind is deep inside one of his more violent memories, one of the colonists surprises Todd, who nearly kills him. Fearful, the colonists expel Todd from the community. Having been rejected by every society he has known, the military and the refugee civilians, Todd shows strong emotion for the first time. Overcome by the loss, he quietly cries.
Oh, poor Todd.
This movie got to you, Arena.
Okay, so I do think that one moment is really dumb, but
Yeah.
honestly, these villagers are idiots. Like when you're thinking about it, this guy's like a combat machine.
Yeah.
And then they decide to stuff happiness and joy down his throat. It's like taking a starving person and then taking them to a buffet where you're force feeding them everything. Like
Well,
it's
You
no,
must be
you have
hungry.
to do it incrementally
If you wanna-
because it's
yeah.
not good for them.
He hasn't fully recovered yet, even though he would just finish beating the crap out of a 500-gallon propane tank as a heavy bag. And
Yeah,
she
I was like-
literally asked Mace, "All right, are you scared of him?" It's like, no crap. Like I would be scared of him.
Yeah.
I feel like Paul W.S. Anderson was, what does a Mad Max punching bag look like? And build that.
Just a metal punching.
You know, let's have Santa trigger some PTSD here.
Oh gosh, yes.
By the
well,
way,
honestly, it would with me too. That looked super chaotic.
Yeah. There are moments here where I do think this might have been inspired by Mad Max.
Yeah.
I think the silent protagonist is very Mad Max in a way.
That's true.
I also think, obviously, the desert setting
Oh yeah.
and just all these ruffians or survivors who are just living in this kind of wasteland area.
Scavengers.
Scavengers just trying to live. And it makes sense because Paul W.S. Anderson has actually stated later on that he is a big fan of Mad Max. Even a couple
Yeah.
of his movies have been directly inspired by that, especially the latest Resident Evil, the final chapter, which is just this, it's basically Mad Max Fury Road,
Yeah.
but not as good. just a vehicle action movie across a deserted road. But
I'll be real, I've never been a huge fan of his films. I mean, they're always entertaining to some degree, but they're never really my vibe.
yeah, he has a personality about him, though. Like, I think I can tell when it's a Paul W.S. Anderson movie. None of his movies are masterpieces, obviously, but I do kind of enjoy them in a certain way. It's like he was a director that was 10 years too late to the 80s game.
Yeah.
Where it was like,
he's desperately trying to bring it back.
Or
Yeah.
he just won't fully commit to the Uwe Boll shtick, where it's just like,
Yeah.
let's just pump this
Yeah.
out. And
Oh, if you've watched an Uwe Boll movie, they are almost unwatchable. They're so bad. There's at least something ticking inside the head of a Paul W.S. Anderson movie.
yeah.
Even though it's probably just pure adrenaline. He has more artistic
He
merit
has
to me.
morals.
Yeah.
I just don't know how the writing of this shared a writing for Blade Runner. Like, they're literally ousting Todd at gunpoint from the community, and Mace is like, if you need anything, you can ask us. It's like, you're pointing guns at him right now. Why would you ask him that at this time? That's like completely contradictory.
Yeah, that seems counterintuitive.
That was a whole part where I was just like, why is this happening this
Yeah.
way? This doesn't make any sense. And then the whole fact that the kid hit a snake with his boot changed their mind.
That made me
like I don't
cringe so hard.
It's like
Gosh.
I thought it was
kinda
more.
get it, but
No.
like he was only gone for what feels like a couple minutes, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Never mind, we were wrong."
We're sorry,
I thought it was more the. Oh, you're talking about when the kid hits the.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
So he's like he like teaches the kid how to hit the snake.
How to defend
and
himself.
The kid, for whatever reason, is watching his parents while they're
Sleeping.
Naked
Sleeping
under the
naked.
covers.
and he sees the snake crawling over them, so he yanks it by its tail, which is also no.
Don't do that.
Well, he's a kid.
And then he slams it while it's under the covers a couple times with a boot.
on the
and
bed that's
suddenly-
bouncy, not a hard surface, and he's just like
Yeah, I
tapping it
know,
on
I
there.
know.
Yeah. So first of all, I cringed at that was enough to take it out. But then I cringed again when he instantly says in that moment, "We were wrong. We have to get him back." And it's like, dude, y'all just excommunicated him. How is this proof that he's okay? Even
Also,
if you've made
I
up
would
your
have
mind.
never put that together that Todd taught their son to do that.
I know.
Like, because they just kind of walked in on
Yeah.
that situation earlier, and you have no reference for what had actually happened.
Yeah.
And then they see the kid like hit the snake with a boot.
yeah.
I wouldn't have put that together. I would have just been like, "Hey, good job, kid.
Now maybe
You're hitting the
if they-
snake."
if they had spent more time to develop all the characters' different nuances, like the kid, maybe he was traumatized and wouldn't do anything at
So,
all,
like-
and that like suddenly he did
Yeah.
that, and like they didn't teach him, and they could
Yeah.
have gone so far in
I just
any
think
direction
it's
they wanted to. but they
funny
didn't.
that it's the snake that broke the camel's back, and not him nearly killing Jim the pig man.
Yeah, Michael
Jimmy the pig
Chiklis's
man.
character.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And that
I was like,
didn't,
that seemed a little more serious.
They just kind of looked at him like, oh well, there he goes, the traumatized soldier going
that-
at it again with his
Don't you
murderous
bring it to a
antics.
children's
I think the
movie.
only thing that justifies that is the fact that he saved him a few scenes before
Yeah,
from
I
death.
guess.
So it's just that maybe just balanced the scales. I don't know.
Whatever. It just seemed weird.
So the guy dies. What? Okay.
Mace dies. Mace had to die.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mace
Mace
dies
dies.
because. Okay, AJ, maybe you were paying better attention than I was, but why did the whatever M name? What is his name?
Mace.
Meekum.
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 Oh, Meekum.
Why did they come back to the area to?
I'm just gonna say we haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, we're about
we
to
not there?
go into that
No.
in the plot.
Yeah,
Let's go ahead then.
fine.
Maybe I'll explain
We'll
it to
answer
Reese.
Reese's question.
A short time later, Mace and Sandra are almost bitten by a snake while they sleep, but Nathan comes in and uses Todd's defensive technique to save them. Realizing they made a mistake in exiling Todd, Mace leaves to bring him back, regardless of the opposition of the colonists who fear him. Meanwhile, Meekum and the new soldiers arrive on the garbage planet for an operation to garner them combat experience. Since the world is legally listed as uninhabited, Meekum declares the colonists as hostiles to be used as the targets, much to the disapproval of Captain Church. Just after Mace finds Todd and apologizes, the soldiers spot them and open fire. Todd survives, but Mace dies from an explosion.
So, He basically
Did that answer your
didn't
question?
have to follow that through.
Yeah.
He just wanted to unleash his toy soldiers onto Garbage Planet and just have them wreak havoc. And if there's
Yeah.
some civvies along the way, just mow over them.
Yeah, that totally answers my
here's
question.
the-
Thank you.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I get that. But then as soon as he's received with opposition, he's all like, well, now we need to basically nuke the planet. You know, like, you can't just reconnoiter and, like, come back another time with something better. Like, I don't know. It's like this weird... What's the motivation here?
No, their motives make zero. Their motives make zero sense.
This is the guy who is complaining about obsolescence and antiquity in the military, and he still uses a revolver in the post-space age. I know. So, and also,
It's so
how is
true.
Church, Gary Busey's character, who Gary Busey still manages to inject his Buseyisms? My daddy told me this.
I love that,
in
to
this.
be honest.
Why is he the voice of humanity when he's running the program that brainwashes children from birth into killing machines?
This doesn't make
That
sense
is something
either.
I was wondering too.
And also, he did end up killing all of it, or sending all of his old soldiers to death, pretty much, didn't he?
Well, they're
Yeah.
all basically doing menial work now. They're still around, just they aren't.
But he disposed
soldiers.
of Todd. Like he was like, yeah, that's
but
fine.
Well, 'cause he
they
thought he
thought
was
Todd
dead.
was dead.
Oh,
He was actually just knocked out.
that's dumb. They didn't check their pulse or anything. Like,
Nope.
There are many dumb things with this movie. Many. And the only factor that redeems it is the entertainment value.
yeah.
I mean, they're
Getting
using
back to
like
what we-
anti-vehicle artillery like on individual soldiers and like civilians, and Mace
Multiple
like
times.
is completely like not healable. Like I guess they didn't teach any kind of combat medicine. They just taught killing to these soldiers. So Todd doesn't even like use a tourniquet to try to save Mace. It's just like, I guess I'll let him bleed
Yeah.
out. Like I want his wife.
Yeah,
anyway.
that's what I was gonna say. Was
Whatever.
that whole situation with him getting his leg blown off was
Oh
like, yep,
gosh.
there it comes. Also,
Honestly,
his death.
Wait, did y'all get to the point where Todd is against the army
No,
at this
not
point?
yet.
Not
No,
yet.
no,
we're not there yet.
So we're basically Mace's death and their motivation for
That's
being
pretty
there
much all
on the
this
planet.
is.
Oh yeah, Mace dies and he gets back there and his wife is like, "Is he gone?"
Also,
Okay.
Okay, you're
Also,
the new dad.
they found a way for Mace to create a speech where he's basically like, "No, I'm dying. It's okay for you to be with my family."
I give you my
You know,
blessing
it was
to
like-
lay with my wife
he-
and raise my son.
Yeah. He was basically like, "Oh no, I'm dying. No, don't bother. It's too much blood I've lost already. Oh no, my family. You have to be with them." Like
He's basically saying,
what?
please have sex with my wife and take care of my kid.
Okay, I'm just
These
gonna
villagers
say,
are really nice.
they're very open. I honestly didn't realize he was actually dying there because if you just
I didn't either.
watch the way he acts,
Yeah.
you're like,
I know.
oh, he's just having a normal conversation.
It's just a flesh
Oh
wound.
wait, did his head just tilt to the
I
side?
know,
Did he
the
die?
head tilt. The head tilt was so great.
It is funny how the head tilt is what we
I know.
think of when
You
we think
associate
of
they're
death.
they're
with
just like
death
it's that
at that
last
point.
sigh of life where it's like
Oh,
they
oh,
tilt
oh,
their
he
head
died.
over.
Oh.
Imagine the situation where he actually is not very well wounded. He just really wanted to not be tied down anymore.
Yeah.
So
But
he's just
you-
like, no.
If you
I'm
kept the
good."
camera there and Todd runs off, he just kind of like crawls away.
Yeah, he
He looks
actually
around like,
he didn't actually like his wife. They had so many disputes.
Yeah, he just
He's
wanted to get out of the relationship.
man,
You can have her, dude.
she's checking
Oh, no.
out this soldier guy
Don't
that just
bother,
came
I've
in.
lost too much
Like, we've
blood
been married
already.
for 10 years.
She's got a really weird foot fetish.
She likes scars.
She wanted kids, I didn't. Yeah.
Now we have Nathan.
Now we have Nathan, who just killed a snake with a boot.
I planted that snake there. He was supposed to die.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she slipped some Valley Girl in there in some of her lines too. She's like, oh my God, you can't fight 17 more on your own. When like
Yeah,
Todd is
yeah,
going to go take
that's
on the
right.
whole army by himself.
Yeah, what? Who is she?
All right, I'm gonna read that next part
Yeah,
just
let's do it.
because we've pretty much touched all of this.
Yeah. It's we're
and I have
pretty
something
much
I want to say
there.
about the next part. Though outmanned and outgunned, Todd's years of battle experience and superior knowledge of the planet allow him to return to the colony and kill the advance squad. Nervous that an unknown enemy force may be confronting them, Colonel Meekum orders the soldiers to withdraw and return with heavy artillery. Using guerrilla tactics, Todd outmaneuvers and kills all the remaining soldiers. Kane 607 is wounded and uses painkillers and performance-enhancing stimulants to attack Todd in vicious hand-to-hand combat, but he is ultimately defeated by Todd's experience and clever tactics rather than mere physical prowess.
His spirit, guys.
His spirit.
Finally, a soldier with
They didn't
spirit.
test
funny
them for
that like
spirit.
the whole radio chatter is like there's a sniper, and it's like at not one point was he engaging in sniping tactics. He
That's
literally
what
has
I
a
was
chain gun in the
thinking.
middle of the field just mowing down people. That is not a sniper.
Gosh.
But that's this
You'll
movie,
track down
man.
the sniper? No.
That's this movie. It's just saying, hey, go with it.
David, was
Okay.
there something you wanted to say?
Oh, I mean, now I'm trying to think of it. It had to do with all that.
There's
I
just
lost
too much.
it.
It got lost.
there's
Just
one,
the epitome
uh,
of overkill. Like there is
there's
so
this
much
one dumb
explosion
part.
on like one people. Let's shoot this RPG 6 inches away from this girl's face, and she's just not going to flinch or anything.
Oh,
There's this one dumb part with an RPG where he like kills someone with it, and it's like, all right, cool, you explode the guy, right? Then there's another guy where he pops in on him, and he I can't remember what exactly he does, but instead of directly shooting the RPG at this guy, he shoots it at a propeller above him, and the propeller
so that it
falls
falls.
onto the guy.
that's
Yeah.
using
And
your
kills
brain,
him.
Noah. That's his spirit.
Yeah, that's
This is
he's
so
being
dumb.
he's being
Wait.
tactical.
Okay,
Okay.
so I'm just gonna say that up until this point, I was kind of like, huh, this is fun. But then it got to this, and I was like, okay, this is really fun.
Yeah,
like
it
I
wa- it
actually
was fun.
really
It was
enjoyed
really
this
fun.
final sequence.
It's so dumb, but the action sequence is so 80s
It's
in the
so
best like
good.
B movie way.
I love it so
They literally
much.
I
like do
actually
a
like-
Dukes of Hazzard, slide across the hood of the car, except they did it on an
Yes.
ironing board and flip that over to deflect 50 caliber bullets.
Yeah, I also like his MacGyvering of all these traps that you don't even know really how they work or when he set them up, but it's like, okay, that's cool. And also just explosions for every little small thing that happens.
I know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's a tank that rolls over. You pointed this
Yeah,
out.
it's some,
Noah.
some bamboo trees or something, and there's a explosion.
Noah, guerrilla tactics.
Michael Bay, where are you at?
Yeah.
Well, he was obviously there.
For
seen
any
the
listeners who don't know what the Wilhelm Scream is, you can watch this sequence because there's literally 4 within 8 seconds.
Was it actually the actual Wilhelm Scream 4 times?
Yeah, so there's a Wilhelm
my
Scream. I was like, oh,
gosh.
that's, obvious, but okay, it's, cheesy anyway. There's another one. There's another one. It's been 8 seconds. There's 4. And then later on, there's another one. Like exactly
Isn't
the
the
same
rule-
Wilhelm Scream.
Isn't the rule just to have like one to pay
Yeah, it's
tribute
like
to the Wilhelm
like even
Scream?
Lord of the Rings had one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just you put one in your movie. That's like the rule, isn't it?
And that's like the ongoing little joke or that you throw in there.
Wow.
Yeah,
I-
I think they missed
wasn't-
the memo on it being a joke.
I think that's what Anderson is.
Maybe
He
it became a joke
He
after
just
this.
loves going that extra mile to overdo it.
I do want to say I love this kind of repeating dust storm that occasionally comes through, and there's some cool shots of people getting skewered by crosses.
Yeah, that was cool.
Gosh.
I loved that.
The first time we saw the rolling dust storm, I think Todd literally stares right into it as if he could stare it down with his eyes wide open. Let's just get our eyes full of sand here.
Hey,
That's what Todd is. He's a legend.
Yeah, that's just how you got to do it.
Can't
That's
break Todd.
He's
that's
a
his,
soldier.
That's his spirit,
His
AJ.
spirit
But
blocks
himself,
his eyes.
like pulling himself along on that rope was, I don't know, that was something else. That's epitome of acting. This pinnacle
feel
acting
like-
there.
By this point, I don't even care about continuity. It's just like, yeah,
just like,
take
get-
out those bad guys.
Yeah, give me fun action that's dumb and doesn't make sense.
I think the reason I'm able to enjoy it so much is because I don't actually really care about any of these characters. So I don't mind watching someone just tear it up, you know?
Well, we never really talked about, though, the fight sequence with Kane.
So he pops a bunch of
we talked
pills,
about
and that
it.
was, I felt like that shot was kind of random. Oh, there's some random medicine right there, and, prescription Walmart bottles right there. It's just down 20 pills right here. It's like, what does that do? I thought they were already like epitome machines with, I don't know.
I
was
don't know.
the
They need some
extra.
added drugs just in case.
It actually reminded me of the fight in Fast 5 between Vin Diesel and The Rock. Where it's just,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a lumbering fight where
Yeah.
neither of them are really fast. So it's just like two big, bulky dudes just kind of like, all right, here's a loading time between my punch, and it's
Yeah.
going to land 2 seconds later. But just seeing them kind of go at it was entertaining, and the way that Todd uses that helicopter blade to cut his stomach is just
Yeah.
like
was
I
kinda
wasn't
cool.
expecting
I
that.
actually thought that was cool.
So
he did a false telegraph where he looks at something on the other ground and makes
Yeah.
him turn his gaze or turn his attention.
Yes.
which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and then it ends in a kind of neck snap that is. I do like that. There's one moment of subtlety in this movie, and it's the moment where Todd actually thinks for a second as to whether or not you can tell he's thinking it.
Yeah.
Should I snap this guy's neck? And you can tell in his performance that he's like, I don't. This feels bad, but I got to do it. And so he snaps Kane's
I'll
neck.
also say that there is a slight nuance in a slight, mind you, nuance in the
Emphasize slight.
Kane, because towards the end of the fight, you can tell he's starting to have more emotions than being just a robot.
That might be the actor there.
Yeah. Do you think it was like anger? Like he was having.
It wasn't quite anger. It was like I don't know what it was.
To me, it almost came
Constipation.
across as like confused.
Constipation.
Yeah, it was like confused or.
It was
I
those
think
pills.
that-
I think he was kind of
Yeah.
going berserk on those steroid pills or whatever he's
Those
supposed to take.
steroid
Adrenaline.
pills.
Yeah.
I feel like you said with Todd in that final moment where his face actually shows like almost kind of this agony a little bit over his situation there. Mm-hmm. But to me, it reminded me of the way humans have to put down feral animals, because they are a danger.
Yeah.
It's not really their fault, but for the greater good, you have to dispatch them, basicly.
Yeah.
So,
He should have kissed him and gored his eyes out. That would have really tied it with the Blade Runners.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Press into the eyes.
I feel like Reese, you said at that point, like, "Oh, this is where the Tears in the Rain speech comes in." And
I would
did.
have be like so funny if like Todd just broke into that speech at the end of that.
the thing
Like
is,
tears.
when in Blade Runner, he
Rain.
let him live. So I feel like in this movie, if he killed him and then said it would make no sense.
But wouldn't it
at
be
all.
so funny if he's just talking to himself and there's just this dead body floating in the water?
Like tears in rain.
Right,
Oh,
All right.
gosh.
Todd confronts Meekum over the radio, declaring his new soldiers obsolete. Panicking, Meekum orders Todd's old squad to set up and activate a portable nuclear device powerful enough to destroy the planet before commanding the ship to lift off and leave the squad behind. When Captain Church objects to the abandonment of the old soldiers, Meekum shoots him in cold blood. Todd and the colonists are discovered by the old squad, and they silently side with him over the army that has discarded them.
So
Silently sigh.
So you just remind me of a moment that was dumb, but I enjoyed it. I think this actually happened a little earlier. It's whenever he kills one of the soldiers, and he has the what's it called, the walkie-talkie, whatever, and he growls
Yeah.
into it.
Yes.
And then literally
and they're
Meekum
like,
is
"Was
like,
that
a growl? He heard a growl. And I'm pretty sure that Jason Isaacs is pulling a meta moment, like he can't believe that the script he's reading right now is just so incredulous.
Growl?
Well, he didn't say the word growl.
so
He said
weird.
throat noise, but I asked him to imitate it, and
Yeah.
it sounded like a growl to me.
I kind of enjoyed it.
I enjoyed that bit of dialogue
Yeah.
there too.
Yeah, it was like a moment of actual humor.
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
This, or at least aware humor
Yeah.
Yeah.
that actually landed
Yeah.
successfully.
Busey goes on to be like, Colonel, my daddy always said, when you want to insert a nail into a piece of wood, you don't do anything fancy or glamorous.
Yeah, you use a hammer.
It's true.
Love
His
the
daddy
statues.
also always said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Is this the part where he blows himself up with the atomic bomb? Or is
Pretty
that
much.
next paragraph?
No,
Pretty-
it's next
we're-
paragraph.
What? How is this
There.
split into two paragraphs?
I don't know.
The person who wrote this for Wikipedia was very, very passionate about Soldier. So
There's lots of things to talk about.
Let's go to the last one.
All right, the final paragraph. The group takes over the ship, and Todd comes face to face with Meekum, who finally sees his opponent as the one he left for dead. They evacuate the remaining colonists and leave Meekum and Church's aides on the planet. In an attempt to disarm the nuclear device, Meekum accelerates the countdown and sets it off, killing himself and the aides. The ship escapes the shockwave and sets course for the Trinity Moons, the colonists' original destination. When Nathan enters the control room and reaches for Todd, he picks up Nathan and points to their new destination while looking out upon the galaxy
Oh, Nathan.
with one arm.
So yeah, there was another honest moment of humor that landed when Jason Isaacs tries to go in front of the lady who's putting in the codes, and it ends up just blowing up.
I can't remember. Is it 267 or 276? Get out of my way. I'm just going to go with one of them.
Yeah.
And we're dead.
That was genuinely funny, but it's followed by, as Irina pointed out, one of the worst CGI atomic explosions.
Yeah.
Well, we also had a funny moment with him as well. It was like bringing him back to those, just out there Fruit Gushers commercials from the 90s, where he finally comes face to face with Todd, the guy he thought was dead, and he's like, "This is all you?" And then, you see that brilliant yellow goop. I guess it's supposed to be him urinating himself.
Yep.
Yeah, it was actually, that was actually improv at the time, or not improv, but it was like kind of just done on the fly. It was pineapple juice, and he wasn't originally supposed to urinate himself, so that was kind of just
comedic.
Yeah, not even in the script.
Imagine how that actor felt, where last minute, they didn't sign up for this, but the director decides, hey, you should probably urinate yourself.
Yeah.
Here, pour this pineapple juice down your pants real quick.
Well,
Really?
To be fair, it adds a little bit of satisfaction to a very unsatisfying death.
And make it the viscosity of Jell-O.
Yes. I actually felt very satisfied just with the doors opening and there Todd is backlit by a lot of red. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You're just like, ooh, you're gonna get
that was
it.
cool. But then he, I don't know, he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he
cool.
doesn't really do anything. He just kind of stares at him and walks past him.
And
I'm
he throws
fine
him
with
out.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he throws him out, but
He's
what I'm
above
saying
it.
is, I don't know.
It could have been
He deserved
better.
a worse death.
He got blown up by an atomic bomb.
Yeah, it was too instant.
Yeah, but the satisfying thing about that death, though, is because of his own, confidence in himself.
A slower death is deserved to those who have done slow deaths. This guy was basically a rat who isn't very intelligent. So I think the death is justly deserved. He didn't really do anything impressively evil.
Yeah.
I guess.
So, what did y'all think of Gary Busey's death? What's his name?
Too sudden.
That
Like, I
Captain
don't
Church.
understand.
Way off guard.
Captain Church, yeah.
I was sad, but I was kind of disappointed.
I kind of was hoping for more out of that actor
was
in this.
too.
He needed more screen time.
Yeah.
I wanted at least 5 more minutes with
I
him.
did
to
enjoy
just-
when he was on screen, though.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Planet
but
Killers,
if
you
you've
mean? We have 15 of those.
If you've seen Gary Busey in other movies, though, he's enjoyable to watch, especially in like Silver Bullet, which is just kind of a nostalgic movie for us.
Yeah.
He,
Silver Bullet, I need to go watch that now.
Yeah, he needed more time in this movie to kind of just flesh out his character. I just wish
Yeah.
the death wasn't as impactful to me.
It
It's just
wasn't
like-
to me either.
Yeah, half the movie just like, is this supposed to be the same bad, like, not a bad, like, antagonist, but he's, like, not a great guy.
Yeah.
He's in charge
Yeah.
of this, like I said, brainwashing infant into death machine program. And
Yeah.
then we were, like, kind of sorry when he dies because he's just kind of like that lovable bad guy, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very confusing exactly where he stands because he has a bit of a soft spot for his soldiers, but at the same time, like, he's been in
bred
charge
them.
of this whole dehumanization process. I don't know what to think about him.
So before we close this story out, how do you feel about the arc of Todd's character? Do you think this brings it to a satisfying conclusion? Do you feel like he's grown as a character throughout this whole thing?
Well,
I'd
as made
say
evident
yes.
by the scene where he's a father at last.
Yeah. How did you feel about Nathan just like opening both
Have
arms
we hit
so
that last
mechanically?
paragraph?
Screw
Yeah, we
you,
finished.
Daddy.
Did we? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we're done.
He just like completely forgets about his own dad. He was like, "All right, you're my new
Arms
dad.
up. He's like, all right.
You taught me how to kill a snake."
And then he picks him up with one arm. He's like, yep. Come here,
Yeah,
little
the family
Nathan.
isn't very remorseful about the death of their husband and father.
My husband's gone. All right.
And he was a good guy too.
Yeah, he
was.
Poor
was.
guy.
Anyway,
Poor buddy.
I like his character arc. I don't know. I have a thing for the silent main characters. I don't know. I like
Who
it.
express with their eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel
Or
like I've
with
seen
their
more
lives.
dialogue in a
Well
Charlie
enough.
Chaplin film.
I liked it well enough, but I still think that there are a number of aspects that could have absolutely been made better by a different director.
I think we could all agree with that in
Yeah.
some way.
They could have done worse though. They could have
Yeah.
casting Kurt Russell that's an interesting choice.
But you
I
just-
feel like they could have done more with him, but you got a good actor for this role.
Yeah.
A number of good actors, actually.
So yeah, as much as I think some of his performance is kind of wasted in certain ways, he gives it the best he can, I guess. Yeah.
Yay.
All right, that brings our story to a close. We're going to take a quick break, and then we will review the film and talk about this franchise as a whole. All right, welcome back. We're all here to review
Across the universe.
Soldier.
Yay.
And talk about this franchise as a whole. So, David, you have our scores.
I do. We have Irina.
Yeah.
Irina,
Don't blame me.
this might be the widest range of scores
Don't
I've ever
knock me
seen.
for
I am
it.
afraid. What did she put?
7.5.
What?
Dude, I love this movie. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I enjoyed it a lot,
They are-
actually.
We are going to be all over the place.
I love you for that.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
I don't know what it is.
So this is
Usually
Your
I
Tomb
don't
of the
really-
Dragon Emperor?
Yeah, this is my Tomb of the Dragon
Gosh,
Emperor.
but it's
This
higher
is,
than that.
No. The thing is, I definitely consider a guilty pleasure film. I'm not going
Yeah.
to get mad at anyone for rating it lower, but I'm just saying you got to give me this one.
It is better than
But
Tomb.
like I like Sucker Punch and other things like that. Those are like guilty pleasure films. But it's I don't know if it's the dystopian wasteland combat setting that gets me, because I love Mad Max. But I don't usually go for action films. Like Fast and the Furious doesn't really strike me the same way. And I don't know. There's something about the setting. And I just enjoy the sheer campiness of it. And I think most of that score is due to the fight sequence at the end. I can't explain to you why, but
You
it
liked
just
it.
hit me right. And
It just goes all out.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
all right.
Okay,
Man, I
I'll
don't-
take it.
I'm just going to go ahead and say there's no way we can go anywhere but down from here. So who's up next?
Gives it a 10.
AJ. Perfect follow-up with a 1.5.
Yeah, so can't really follow Irina here on that.
Yeah, but dude, I knew that going in. I was like, people aren't gonna agree with me.
Yeah, it just, this movie, even being a bad movie, doesn't do it well. Like, it got me invested enough in Mace's character to empathize with him, and then when he dies, it's like, I'm rooting against Todd almost, because why does he get the girl when, I don't know. Like, he literally, the dialogue, maybe it's the fact there is no dialogue in this movie, really, that threw me off, and I pretty much stopped it, like, every time I had a snarky comment to write down in caps, all caps on the thing. So
5-hour-long movie.
that might have disrupted my rhythm and just being able to enjoy the movie, so that might be part of it, honestly.
Yeah.
How many times did you watch it?
Once. I started actually watching it
Whoa.
the first time, and then I had to do something else, and then I went and watched it another time, and I'm pretty sure I have a couple bullet points here. It's like, it feels like this movie's been 2 hours long, and it's already only been 45 minutes. And it's like, it's only been 10 more minutes. But I don't know, it's just like the campy movies that are enjoyable because they can poke fun at themselves and they know they're campy, they know they're cheesy. This one just crossed the threshold of trying too hard where it doesn't get that excuse anymore, in my opinion. Like, if I wanted to watch action with an underdog gorilla taking on everyone trying to kill him, I would watch Rambo First Blood Part 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
Or if I want to watch a drinking game movie that's just completely mindless and stupid, then I'd probably pick something else that would at least, I don't know.
Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah, I couldn't really like laugh at it or take it seriously. So it kind of felt like it didn't hit either of those marks, and so it just kind of fell through the cracks, unfortunately. And just Todd, like, I get that he doesn't have a dialogue. He's not supposed to be. He's supposed to be like a mindless soldier. I just don't really understand the resolution of if this was just kind of, I don't know. I feel like there's a theme forced on it, and it was just like some of the dialogue that he did have was like Marcy from the Peanuts thrown in, like literally everything is ending in "sir," where you don't talk to you don't address civilians as "sir" like that. Like they're your commanding officer.
I was a little confused about
He
that.
talks to the girl and he's like, sir.
I couldn't really remove myself from reality enough to not critique it for what it did wrong, because I wasn't having fun at the same time.
I bet if you were with us, AJ, and you watched it and we were all drinking, I bet you'd enjoy it.
Yeah, but the thing
that's where
is, you have
context
to
makes
put
a
him in
big
a
difference.
situation for it. Yeah.
But and then just from like I expected better, and maybe it's because I'm we're coming off of Blade Runners and the writing on that, and
I did
we're
not
looking for
expect
heavily symbolic themes and stuff like that, and even I feel like if we had some better cinematography, even if it ended up like a spaghetti western, that would be better. And unfortunately, that was just how it kind of shook out for the production of it. But even some of the camera work was just shoddy. The cuts and just the different just transitions were just like, what? I don't know. So it didn't scratch the itch of action or comedy for me. So that's why it's getting so low.
That's fine. This movie does it. It's cool that you can have both sides, though.
So, sorry to interrupt, but I do have an answer for the sir part to a civilian. Is that this is his turning point where he's decided who he's swearing his allegiance to, and it's not to his old military unit. It's like this is the commander now.
All right, Arena, your new role is bringing context to things that we want to
No,
laugh at.
and that thought did cross my mind, but it was just
easier.
overdone, and it was just too like every line was just "sir," and it was almost like I don't know,
kind of beaten into your head a little bit.
Yeah,
it
like
wasn't
the way
funny.
this movie is.
Okay, I'm drawing the next score. And we have Reese with a 5? Question mark?
I think I'll stick with the 5. I was like, this was so hard to come up with a score for. I'm really bugged that this attaches itself to the Blade Runner universe. This should have been its own thing, or directed by someone different, like one or the other. Like directed by someone who took the source material very seriously and made, a counterpart to the Blade Runner series that is serious and tackles serious questions, or just completely excised itself from Blade Runner. Mm-hmm. So that's my issue. That said, the movie, right off the top, establishes itself as something completely different. It never parades around as something more than it is. It's a big, dumb, 80s-influenced action movie in the vein of, Schwarzenegger movies. It's like Commando, Total Recall, all those, but dumber. I mean, Total Recall actually has interesting concepts going on.
Right.
But yeah, this is like this. I would say it qualifies as a guilty pleasure because I did enjoy it. It is a mercifully short movie at an hour and a half. And it has
the fact that you have to say it that way, though.
Yeah, I know.
Mercifully short.
Yeah, but no, it's there's not an ounce of fat on this movie. It's constantly just throwing things at you. Mm-hmm. Todd at least gets a very simplistic character arc that comes to a more or less satisfying conclusion. And the third act of this movie is the strongest act. It gives us a, just balls out action sequence, explosions everywhere, a lot of kind of practical set pieces. So I appreciate it for that. I enjoyed it as a B movie, but it still has so many flaws, and I just really despise that it is in the Blade Runner universe because it just kind of it doesn't do a lot with that. Like it claims that it's connected to Blade Runner, but doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything to justify being connected.
It has a reference, one reference, maybe two.
But there's nothing this does that indicates it should be connected to Blade Runner. It's just like, oh yeah, we're connected. It's
we
like
decided for ourselves.
It's like saying Jurassic Park is connected to Fast and Furious. It's
because
like,
they had one of the vehicles in the background.
Yeah, it's like if Fast and Furious, like if they had gone to a certain island, they'd encounter dinosaurs. Like that's like, it's just dumb that they're connected, and it shouldn't be. But if you just take this as the dumb action movie, and I've said dumb about 100 times, which is about as many words as Kurt Russell had in this movie, it's fine. You can have a good time with it. That it's a derpy action movie that really evokes the 80s in a way that I like. So
and there are people that like that.
Yeah, so I'll stick with my 5 out of 10.
All right. It's going to be Noah with a 4.
Yeah, you can mark that down to a... I'll keep a 4.
You're going to go lower?
I was thinking about it.
Come on.
That's it.
Yeah, you've left it all on the table. Maybe you and I can talk more too when I say mine.
Sure.
So your review, let me clarify, is or eh?
Yeah.
4.
4.
That's about it.
I don't know why, but
all I
that is
got.
perfect.
You were entertained by this slightly, though.
That's why it gets a 4.
Okay.
Honestly, I am in complete agreement with Noah. I also gave it a 4.
You guys suck.
No, the thing is,
I'm kidding. Your
I
points
could
are
see
valid.
why AJ and other people could vote it a 1.5 because it's so dumb and there's so many flaws. But somehow, even with all those flaws and all these like issues, it's fun. It's enjoyable.
Yeah.
And it does have some okay ideas.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like if I was at home stuck on a rainy day or something and this was on TV, I would totally watch this.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
I don't care if it's a 4.
Yeah.
Like it's an enjoyable movie and
if this is the only movie that you can watch,
okay.
maybe.
So
Fair.
that was my
Yeah.
follow-up because I was going to ask all of y'all, would anyone choose to watch this movie again intentionally
I
without
would.
alcohol involved
I
over
would
any other
actually
movie?
watch it again.
I know. I believe Irina,
Depends
but
on
I don't think
what
any
it's
of
combated against.
us other than Irina would.
I will say there's a lot of movies that I value higher than this movie that I still
Yes.
wouldn't watch again. I'm not saying I'd go back and watch this, but I will say my time with it, I don't regret it.
Yeah.
If I can put it that way. It's just like, so I can't give it complete
Yeah.
low
Complete
marks
failure,
for that.
yeah.
I would say if it was this or Judge Dredd, I would probably choose this.
All right, so yeah,
Wait,
for
what?
I mean, that's not really a fair
all right.
comparison.
I'm going to bring my fists out
Sorry,
for
it
this
just
wait,
one.
clicks to me what
Wait,
you just
wait,
said.
Put them up.
Wait,
Wait a
real
minute.
quick.
No, like Dread?
Dread or the
Dread
old
with
one?
Carl
How
Urban?
does
Any
that-
of them.
What?
What?
David.
You're fired.
You didn't
David-
watch the other one,
You're
so you
fine.
can't say
Well,
that.
well, he can't say anything because he gave Tomb of
gave
the
it a
Dragon
good
Emperor
score.
a 7. So.
Wait, what'd you say, Noah?
Yeah, I said he can't really say anything because he gave Tomb of the Dragon Emperor
Oh, that's
a
right.
7.
So
Wait, the third
Oh my
Mummy
gosh.
movie?
yeah, Tomb of the
You're just
Dragon
doing
Emperor.
this
a
because you're
7.
mad at me.
Okay, I will take David's comment and say yes. I would 100 times out of 10. Out of 10. Wow, that's a big phrase.
100 times out of 10.
Whatever, whatever that means to you, it's a lot. I would watch Dread over this hands down every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she liked Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying they're two different vibes too.
Yeah,
And that's
I
mainly
get
what I'm
that.
getting at. It's
Well,
the
one is a
vibe, not the
quality movie.
Dread is a better made movie easily. I also just find this sort of campiness like I could rewatch it more. I guess
Okay,
I should say.
I get
So
that.
you're
Yeah, I
saying
get
that rewatchability holds no bearing on score?
What it holds a lot. That's what I'm saying in this one.
Well,
Yeah,
no.
but it's 4. This one
you
got a
gave
4
this a
and the other
4,
one
but
had a
Dread
7.
has a higher score.
Well, yeah, because it was better made.
Exactly.
It doesn't outweigh it. Most of the score for this one goes into the rewatchability.
Yeah, but like it still doesn't. It doesn't hold as
Anyway.
much bearing as other aspects.
Anyway, you are entitled to your
Holds-
opinion.
It still holds more.
You're
It could be a
entitled,
1.5
yes.
and I added 3 to it.
all right, all right.
All rewatchability. we've all gotten it out there now. So AJ, you gonna crunch those numbers for us?
Yeah, nice change of topic.
So average across all of us is a 4.4.
All right.
All right, good job, Soldier.
That's
You're not
where it
you're not
should
at
be.
the,
I
you're
clearly
not at the
brought
bottom.
that average down.
It seems appropriate to be honest.
I think
I think that's fine.
AJ, you saved this from being a high score. Like,
Yeah, so we got
Like
a
with
couple
the-
outliers on either end of
Yeah.
the box plot here. Okay, anyway.
Obvious.
So this is fourth from last place, under King Arthur 2004, and
All right.
above League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which
I think it
I
deserves
think
to be
that's
above
fair.
that. Yeah.
I
yeah,
think
I
that
agree.
sounds
it's pretty
great.
close. It's
I
pretty
would
close.
choose League
I actually
over
think
this
that's
movie
fair.
to watch again.
I would watch this over League.
I would choose to watch this over King Arthur 2000.
Y'all are nuts.
I don't know. I'd watch King Arthur 2004
Gosh,
over
I was
this.
so bored with that movie though, to be honest.
Hey, we still got this at a 4.4. I think that's fair for Soldier.
Yeah, ish.
And I like our range on this
Yeah.
one. It's
Yeah.
I like a movie where people have completely different
I
opinions about
couldn't
something and for
deny
different
what my
reasons.
heart was saying.
So screenwriters
Yeah,
take
yeah,
note
yeah.
in order
Go
to
with
please
your heart.
audiences. You don't need to put any dialogue in your movie at all.
Yep.
There's a lot of people who make good movies with little dialogue.
Well, I would say K from Blade Runner doesn't actually speak a lot.
No,
either.
he doesn't.
Really?
He does speak, but it's minimal.
Yeah.
So
Movie-
it's just how you do it, I guess.
Movie making is a spectrum, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's talk about this movie's box office.
Oh, yay.
All right.
This is going to be hard, actually.
Yeah, this movie actually cost a lot. It cost $60 million.
Well, I mean, it had some pretty good
Whoa.
actors in there.
Yeah.
And that's probably more with inflation.
Oh, but you said what's his name?
20
had
million.
20 million of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Wait,
Literally a
what?
third.
He had a
Uh,
big chunk.
AJ, since you know that, I might exclude you from the box office.
Yeah, I was going to recuse myself anyway.
You have to step up.
Since you know
It's
that
too late.
there's a fact on IMDb that gives away the box office about this, so that's the only reason I'm doing that. But anyone who wants to participate who doesn't know,
I'm ready.
how much do you think this movie made?
I bet it made 50 million.
50 million. Okay.
You know what? It has Kurt Russell in it, though.
Yeah. That's where the 50 million.
That's how it got to 50
You
million.
know.
All right, I'm going to say 60 million. It evened
see.
out.
All right.
Arena,
30 million.
30 million?
Yeah.
You never know.
The movie made 14.6 million.
Hey, I was
what?
closer.
That,
Gosh.
that said, disclaimer, I could not find reported numbers on worldwide
Dang.
So they just
They made no
so they
profit.
just gave
think,
Kurt
that was
Russell 3
worldwide.
million free, like 3.
No, 14.6 million was the US. It had a 6 million opening weekend and it legged it to 14.6 million in the US.
pretty much-
Gosh.
They gave all their profits
There's
to
no
Kurt
worldwide?
Russell.
No,
And then
the
some.
thing is there may be worldwide numbers, but from what I could tell, I couldn't find them.
Well, maybe there's a cult, like a cult following now.
This movie does have a cult following.
Yeah.
It actually does.
I'm part of the cult now.
Yeah, this Paul W.S. Anderson actually has a couple movies that have cult followings, and that's Event Horizon, this movie, and in some ways the first Resident Evil movie. Even though that movie was actually successful and spawned a 6-film franchise.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie probably the least successful movie we've ever covered.
Yep.
Oh, it absolutely
Oh,
is.
yeah, for sure.
We talked a lot about Sean Connery's salary on League of Extraordinary Gentlemen being $17 million against a $78 million budget. This is a definitely bigger cut of the budget
Yeah,
for Kurt Russell,
that was
$20 million
quite a
against
bit.
$60 million.
So that
That's
he could
insane.
not have a lot of lines.
So David, who's a better sleuth than I am, actually looked into this, and he has potentially found that this movie made $5.6 million overseas.
Give us a
So,
grand total of 21.
so let's adjust that to a
Oh, wait.
21 million.
I still win.
20. Yeah, it made you closer.
Yay.
Hey, so the
Yeah.
studio made $1 million.
Yeah, Arena definitely
Actually, no, because the
It
budget.
lost money.
Yeah, it lost money.
What?
But
High five, virtual high five.
Look at
Congratulations for your
Look at
first
me.
box office
Kurt
win.
Russell's
That's amazing.
amount. So pretty much they made the movie to give Kurt Russell some money.
Yeah, it was just him.
Yeah, that's so sad. Like the money this movie made didn't even cover like Kurt Russell's
That is
salary.
really sad.
It's like, hey, dude, you want a paycheck?
How did they pay him if they didn't make money back?
No, they guaranteed
No, they-
his money. It was,
yeah.
his
It's a
pay
studio.
his pay was part of the budget.
yeah.
I
Probably.
guess that, the studio just writes him a check, I guess.
Yeah.
And he was actually, I think I read this, that he, in an interview for Big Trouble in Little China that he was in, he was actually asked about other films, and Soldier came up, and he said the only reason he returned to that movie was because he wanted that paycheck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's a nice paycheck, $20
Yeah.
million.
How much did Sean Connery make in
17 million.
I like how you knew that. Pretty.
Yeah, because
Well,
they
well,
literally
they
said
just
it a minute
mentioned
ago.
it earlier. So there was actual talk of a sequel. Kurt Russell actually stated that a sequel had been planned, had the film done well, which it obviously didn't.
Yeah.
I'd really be curious to see what that would be like. Like, what would it try to tie itself closer to the Blade Runner franchise, or would it go off in a
I
completely
think
different direction?
it would probably end up being, oh, where did they go? Because they took this giant ship and decided to,
Oh, it
I
said on
guess,
there where they
find a
went.
new place.
Well, this is where it turned
Well, yeah,
into
but-
Firefly, the show.
It kind of does have a vibe like that.
Yeah, it
actually.
does.
But
Does
they
it?
said they were going.
How dare you?
Yeah.
I love Firefly, but the vibe is similar. This is much worse, but
Just throw in some Western music. And we're good.
the kind of world they live in is similar.
Yeah.
Point is they were going to a moon.
In space?
Yeah, this one wanted a sequel. Blade Runner wanted a sequel. Did this have a honorable or dishonorable death, since Soldier is kind of its own thing?
Dude, they were put on the stretcher and then thrown into the boiling pot. This is dishonorable.
It's dishonorable?
I think it's
I feel
honorable that it's dead.
Oh, that's fair, actually.
So for new listeners, a dishonorable or honorable death for a franchise is determined based off of whether a movie ends in a satisfying manner. Does it tease a sequel or not? I don't feel like this movie teases a sequel.
It
So
doesn't
I
really
feel like
to me.
it's an honorable death for Soldier. It ends in a complete way.
I just have to disagree.
Well, it is hard to separate. This is why the honorable, dishonorable death is hard, because it's like the movie obviously failed.
No,
Yeah.
it's not hard. All it is you have to cut out all of the financial stuff from that. It's not about how successful it was. It is judged by whether or not it tells a complete story.
I have a question. When this was being advertised, did they blatantly say, hey, this is connected to Blade Runner?
I don't think they did. I didn't watch any
Okay.
advertising for this, but I'm pretty sure
So,
they didn't.
Then in my opinion, for me, it would be honorable because it didn't claim that it was continuing Blade Runner, the universe. It was just, this is made in the vein of Blood Rain.
Blood
I
Rain.
can't talk
Different
today.
Blood Rainer.
That's an Uwe Boll movie. We just connected it.
I mean, I don't know back then
There
if
it
they, in
is.
like promo materials, like from the screenwriter of this, or, so you have the same shared screenwriter for the
Yeah.
original Blade Runner writing this, apparently, or supposedly on set, or as Blade Runner was being produced, he was writing this script. So I don't know. I don't know how heavily it was
see,
advertised.
I'm confused because this is something I had never heard of before. So for me, I was kind of preserved in the idea that Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049 were just, that's it. And so this being presented to me with basically no ties to those at all allowed me to experience it without feeling like it insulted the others. It just felt like a completely different universe,
Yeah.
different world altogether.
Yeah.
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 So I went over this, but I didn't even talk about how this movie did critically.
Oh, yeah.
So before we close this out, I'll jump into that real quick. This movie had a 12% on Rotten Tomatoes, with an audience score of 44%.
What? That is exactly what we gave it.
Yeah, 4.4.
Oh,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
That is crazy, actually.
So
Look
yeah,
at that.
IMDb, more positive. 6.0
what?
out of 10.
Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah.
Why?
That said, no Metacritic score for this one. Like, I couldn't even find
They
it.
denied it a
They're like,
score.
Not walk out.
They're like, no.
I don't even
can't
want
do
to think
it.
about this again.
Did we talk about why this movie turned out this way? Or I think Anderson said that, it was, he blamed it on the fact that it was because of their production delays and it wasn't shot in the studio. I know we alluded to that earlier.
Yeah, it was mostly, I think the tone of the movie was what he wanted.
Yeah.
I just feel like the sets and kind of just the vibe of it was a little off from
Yeah.
what he had planned. Like, I
Gotcha.
think he wanted just this more expansive film that seemed that had a bigger feel to it.
Yeah.
But he was constrained by the sets that he had to work on. So
That
I
could
think
have
that's
been
the
a much
only,
better movie.
yeah, I
honestly.
think that's the only big difference. All right, that closes out our episode on Paul W.S. Anderson's Soldier. Next week, we're starting a new series.
All right.
Wait for it. David, you want to announce it? Pirates of the Caribbean. How would you say it louder?
Pirates of the Caribbean. We're covering Pirates of the Caribbean, everybody.
Yeah, we're talking about Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yay!
This will be our longest series thus far
Yeah, I
with
know.
5 films.
No, it won't.
Okay, Mummy, but if you don't count the Tom Cruise reboot,
This one is the most
Or,
consistent, like,
Scorpion
this
King.
is the
Well, that's a part of the
franchise.
movie.
I know. I'm
we
saying.
have a lot of feelings on these films. I'm actually very excited to revisit the sequels, just to see, because I've seen the first one a million times.
I'm more excited to see the first one still.
I
Yeah.
have a wave of emotion. Get it?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm very excited to talk about this series. It's been a long time. So, Should be an interesting
I
conversation.
passed it on to you.
Yeah, you did. Thank you. Thank you for the slur pass. You can also find us, I mean, you're already listening to us, but you can find us on almost all of the other podcast streaming apps. Stitcher, Google, Podbean, Apple, Spotify.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good enough.
all of them. Yeah.
And we're on some other ones that we didn't even realize we were on, so you could probably find us somewhere.
Yeah, we got an Instagram page. We have a
YouTube channel.
Spotify/YouTube channel where we talk about, or no, what am I saying? We have a playlist for the soundtracks of the various films that we cover. That's been curated by AJ. And what else we got going on? We got a Facebook page, whatever. Just follow, like, give us 5 stars if you like us, and
Send us money in the mail.
Send us money, yeah. Even though, you don't know where to send
They'll
it. Just,
figure it out.
yeah, they'll figure it out. Next week, Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one, Curse of the Black Pearl.
Woo!
Yeah, should be fun. All right, later, guys.
I guess you like the fighting. You must.
I gotta say, that
You're
was
a soldier.